what do you think makes this space different, especially since we are an innovation podcast? Our guests have been amazing innovators and entrepreneurs and just, social problem solvers. But what do you think makes this different than, say, some of the other innovation podcasts?
Well, I go back to when we were really imagining and thinking through the format, and you were very intent on it being an innovation podcast and us centering Black innovation. So yes, it's a conversation about collective economics. Yes, it's a conversation about how we as a Black community can really be empowered in this moment. But it's also a podcast on Black innovation. So we've had entrepreneurs, we've had investors, we've had nonprofit executives and leaders. We have people who are building ecosystems in their own community. And we've been able to have these really rich conversations that are different and distinct from the conversations that are being had on other platforms. How about you? What do you think?
Yeah. And I'm wondering if there's any moment that stands out for you. I'll let you think about that for a second. I think what stands out for me the most is, number one, we wanted innovation to be accessible.
Yeah.
Our shows have had joy, laughter. We invite our guests to be their true selves. We know what it's like to have to show a certain form of perfection and excellence in other spaces. And I just love the freedom that I think we have modeled and therefore ushered from our guests. And it's just been a delight to have them speak their truth and have a space where they can speak their truth about their journeys. One of the features that I love about From Chains to Links is that we really centered wellness and mental health.
Yeah.
It is something that can be a very personal and at times scary process. We live in a society where it's kind of like keep your problems at the door, as if who you are and how you're thinking is a problem.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to be around so many people that felt they were safe enough to talk about the reality of yo, if I'm not well, it impacts my business, it impacts my employees, it impacts how I innovate. And then I think the last thing that's been my favorite question that I wish we would have gone back to this season is the question of, you used to ask it so sharply because you couldn't wait. When did you first know that you were Black? After they gave their beautiful introductions, and when you said, when did you know that you were Black? And then when did you know you was Black in America? You were like, oh, Lord. I love it.
It's so funny you mentioned that because I had the most fascinating conversation with my auntie. I think I told you this. And my auntie is in her 60s. And she was like, Kelly, I'd never thought about it. It took me down this whole personal journey of growing up in the South and what that was like and why I left. And she's like, I've never experienced content that forced me to be introspective in that way. Now, mind you, she's my auntie. So, I mean, anything I do, she loves, right? So I get that part. But also, I think that it was a genuine reflection from her. And I've heard similar things from folks, whereas the content that's come out of From Chains to Links has given people an opportunity to reflect in a different kind of a way.